Boys, welcome to my hate video on Titanic Hydra. Basically, a lot of people have been asking me why I don't like Titanic Hydra. I'm going to explain why. So starting off, my qualifications, I'm a 750 NLP Urgot player. I hit Grandmaster. So why do I like Titanic Hydra? Titanic Hydra has one of the worst build paths out of any Urgot item, period, right? Tiamat, HP, and Giant Spell is not a good build path, so if you're first iteming Titanic Hydra, you're griefing, right? But what most commonly people do is they do Black Cleaver, then Titanic, and it's still bad, right? So when you build an item on Urgot, you need to be building it with a purpose in mind, right? For example, Black Cleaver, incredible Urgot item. It cleaves armor, increases your DPS per second, it gives you movement speed, depending on how many stacks you have, etc, etc. Black Cleaver gives you every single stat that you want, right? Sterix. Sterix is for survivability, it is for sustained combat, it is for anti-burst, etc, etc. All these items serve a purpose, right? Urgot doesn't have problems with pushing waves, so Titanic Hydra's deep push is not needed, right? Urgot has already like a hard time managing minion waves with how much he pushes already, right? So you're kind of overkilling on Urgot's identity instead of compensating his weaknesses, and then you create a weakness because you aren't compensating, right? So imagine you have a wall, right? Urgot is the wall in this metaphor. You build Black Cleaver and Sterix, you hold the wall, right? You have Black Cleaver Titanic, you've now created a gaping wall, a gaping hole in the wall, right? And that's how I see it, right? So if you do want to build Titanic Hydra, I would advise this. Black Cleaver, Sterix, Jack Show, then Titanic. I don't advocate for Titanic. It's a luxury item. You should treat it as that. But if you're going to do Titanic Hydra regardless of what the higher Elo Urgot players are telling you, then do that. Titanic Hydra should be minimum 4th item, because then you actually get value from the Colossive Gold passive. If you first item Titanic Hydra is 89% gold effective, you get about 2,900 gold value from the items in Colossive passive. However, if you start Black Cleaver, you get 3,500. If you do Sterix second, 3,800. There you go, 7,300 gold value, or you could gimp yourself by spending 3,200 on Titanic to get less gold value than you would from Sterix, which costs 200 less, right? So you spike earlier on BC Sterix. They're better items in general. I think Titanic Hydra has been kind of power crept like a while ago, and it's just better, right? So if you're gonna do Titanic, regardless of what I'm telling you, 4th item. I don't recommend you do it. If you would like, I made a item tier list, which I'll put a link into the description of the 13.14 patch rundown and why Titanic isn't listed. But basically, I'm just making this video because I'm always asked, like every time I go live, why do you not go Titanic Hydra? Where's Titanic Hydra? Blah, 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 blah. There's been a lot of discussion about it recently. I've also quoted some high elo players and developed some opinions. I've looked at their match histories. Camon, the best Urgot in EU West, 1000 LP plus, hates Titanic Hydra. Amen. Camon's been preaching for about 2 years about Titanic Hydra. Saladman, EU West Grandmasters. He doesn't like Titanic Hydra either. He does it like once every 20 games. And even when he does it, I don't think it like participates towards like a good build path anyway. Because if he had gone Sterix, you know, just some my observations, much better, right? Urgot doesn't have pushing power. Conti, NA, rank 1, challenger, doesn't hate Titanic Hydra, but he doesn't like it either. I think Conti put it in around B, like high C, low B. Because the truth about Titanic is it works in every single lobby because it does nothing, right? There's no weakness or like strength towards Titanic because it's just, it amplifies and already what Urgot is, and that's why it's a luxury item. Because Urgot has wave clear already, he has AoE, Titanic is wave clear and AoE, you just kind of emphasize more on what Urgot is, but you leave yourself open to more weaknesses, right? So it does nothing, apart from like a net loss in my opinion. But yeah, there's not a single Urgot player in the top 5 Urgot players that actively builds Titanic Hydra. Camon has been on a rampage for 4 years telling you that the Titanic Hydra is not good. I've been crusading on it for like 2 years-ish, that Titanic Hydra is not good. I built Titanic because I like to practice what I preach. I don't like to give like an uninformed opinion. I built Titanic the other day just to see how like it felt and like wave clear is it necessary, and it just felt so bad, right? So if you're gonna do Titanic Hydra, 4th item minimum. But please stop building Titanic Hydra. As soon as you stop relying on the clutch of like Titanic Hydra, you stop autopiloting your build paths, you start thinking about like the practical purpose of Urgot and like what you can do, you will just unlock yourself. Okay, so you know, if anyone here has watched Gara versus Rock Lee, there's a scene that I'll show you on the left right now, where he takes off his inhibitors, right? That's how it feels when you play Titanic Hydra Urgot. You are literally weighing yourself down and you're making the game much harder on yourself, but as soon as you take them off, no more Titanic Hydra. Boom! That's how I see Titanic Hydra. You are limiting yourselves. Unlimit yourself. You will gain so much LP, I promise. But yeah. You! I'm talking at you! Come here! Stop it! You! Anyway, bye. No more Titanic.